So I bought a fake game. This is something I knew was inevitable given how many counterfeits there are out there these days, so I wanted to take some time to share my experience with you all. The game in question here is Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance for the Game Boy Advance. It was part of a lot of 10 other games along with the GBA handheld, and I purchased everything through a seller on a local classified site. I was interested in the lot mainly because of the price and the fact that it had a few games that might make for some good trades, as well as some that I didn't yet have for my own collection. At first glance, I noticed the Castlevania game had a Hawkshop sticker on the back, which was false assurance that it was real. I assumed a Hawkshop that charges at least the going online rates would check authenticity before selling, but that was apparently a mistake on my part. Harmony of Dissonance is a game I already own complete in box, so I was mostly interested in getting a second copy to trade. When you put the two games side by side, it's obvious that the fake game suffers from a few of the cardinal things that should have tipped me off. On its own, without opening it up though, it's a pretty passable fake. Let's talk about some of the differences between these. First off, the font of the Game Boy Advance logo across the top of the fake cartridge is a bit squished compared to the regular one. This is a very minute difference though, since it does keep the proper font with the italics included. It's not as obvious as some of the Game Boy bootlegs out there that just say game on top, for example, rather than the full Game Boy name. The label itself is a bit faded overall, but it was hard to say whether or not that was from a bad printer or from sun exposure. The game cartridge was clearly used a lot based on how much wear was on the back, so someone must have really loved this game. It certainly didn't look brand new by any means. A better indication of the fakeness is that it's missing the tiny number stamp on the label, but I don't think that all GBA games have this anyway. More obvious still is that the graphics on the fake have been lifted directly from the box art, but they're kind of distorted and kind of remixed from what you see there. At a quick glance though, it's hard to say unless you've spent a lot of time looking at the original or have it side by side to compare directly. Placement of company logos, the Nintendo seal, and rating information seemed mostly okay with nothing looking too disproportionate or blurry, and the only thing that might have been a red flag in the moment was that the region code was incomplete. With a closer look though, the edge of the label that would have had the end of the code is actually missing, so it was hard to tell if it was complete or not to begin with. On the back of the cartridge, the font and information indicated is incorrect, including a different model number. The tri-wing screw type is consistent with authentic Nintendo games though, but I think a lot of GBA counterfeits make sure to have this type since it's so unique. From my own experience, lots of newer games, especially for NES, will go for a Phillips head screw. This fake cartridge's screw checked out. A dead giveaway for a fake if you're unable to open the game and look at the PCB is a lack of the word Nintendo and the year when you look into the cartridge past the pin connectors. The fake is missing this information completely. Opening up the game is probably your best bet to detect a fake, and this one in particular has a ton of red flags. Obviously the sticker across the chip is a big indicator, but the solder points on the chip feet also look like they've been done by hand. There's also that big black glob of thermal epoxy that's not found on the original, and this material is usually used to help conduct heat away from the board surface or to permanently cover up the identifiers on chips or components used underneath. The battery also looks brand new, but that's not something to consider really, since many games have their batteries replaced at a shop before they're sold, since the originals have long stopped working. Even though I ended up with a fake game, I don't feel too spurned since there were a lot of other things in that game lot that I thought were well worth the price I paid, even without the authentic Harmony of Dissonance. Unfortunately, the problem of bootleg games making their way out into the circulation is becoming more and more rampant, but if you keep an eye out, hopefully you'll be able to spot the fakes and save your money.